That calculator was not wrong, but it was not telling you the full story either. Because there is a massive difference between what a lender will approve you for and what you can actually afford to live with. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly how to calculate what you can really afford. Not what a website guesses, not what a lender approves, but the actual number that lets you buy a home and still have a life. Let's start with the rule that every lender in America uses. It is called the 2836 rule, and once you understand it, you will never look at home prices the same way again. The 2836 rule says two things. First, your total housing costs should not be more than 28% of your gross monthly income. That is your income before taxes. And second, your total debt payments, including your mortgage, should not be more than 36% of your gross monthly income. Let me break that down with real numbers. Say you make $75,000 a year. Your gross monthly income is $6,250. 28% of that is $1,750. That means your total housing payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, should stay at or below $1,750 a month. Now the second part. 36% of $6,250 is $2,250. That is the max your total monthly debts should be, including the mortgage. If you have a $300 car payment and a $200 student loan, that is $500 in existing debt. Subtract that from $2,250, and your mortgage payment should stay below $1,750. Here is where most first-time buyers get confused. The 2836 rule is the safe guideline, but lenders will often approve you for more than that. FHA loans allow a back-end ratio up to 43%, and sometimes even higher with compensating factors. Conventional loans through Fannie Mae can go up to 50% back-end DTI with strong credit. VA loans do not even have a hard front-end cap. So a lender might say, "Congratulations, you are approved for $350,000. But just because you are approved does not mean you should spend that much. Lender approval is based on whether you can make the payment. Affordability is based on whether you can make the payment and still live your life. Let me show you the difference with a real example. Take that same $75,000 income. A lender using FHA guidelines at 43% could approve you for a mortgage payment of about $2,187 after backing out your existing debts. That could put you in a $375,000 home. But here is the real math. After taxes, your take-home pay on $75,000 is roughly $4,800 a month. A $2,187 mortgage is 45% of your take-home pay going to housing alone. Add your car and student loans, and you are at 56%. That leaves you $2,100 for groceries, utilities, gas, insurance, phone, internet, savings, and everything else. Can you survive on that? Maybe. Will you enjoy your life? Probably not. Now compare that to the 28% rule. $1,750 for housing on a take-home of $4,800 is 36% of your net income. You still have $2,550 a month for everything else. That is breathing room. That is an emergency fund building in the background. That is being a homeowner who actually sleeps at night. So here is the real formula I want you to use. It is not fancy, but it works. Step 1. Calculate your actual take-home pay after taxes. Not your salary, the real number that hits your bank account every month. Step 2. Multiply that by 25%. That is your maximum comfortable mortgage payment, including principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Step 3. Subtract your existing monthly debt payments like car loans, student loans, and credit cards. Step 4. Use a mortgage calculator to find what home price matches that payment at today's interest rates. That is your real number. It might be lower than what a lender approves you for, but it is the number that keeps you from becoming house poor. Now here is the part nobody talks about. Your mortgage payment is not your only housing cost. You also pay property taxes, homeowner's insurance, and if your down payment is less than 20%, you pay PMI. If the home's in a planned community, you might pay HOA fees. Those costs can add $300 to $800 or more to your monthly payment, depending on where you live. Then there is maintenance. The general rule is 1% of your home's value per year for repairs. On a $300,000 home, that is $250 a month. Your furnace breaks, your roof leaks, your water heater dies. Those bills come whether you are ready or not. And utilities. Going from a small apartment to a full house can double your electric, gas, and water bills. That is another $100 to $300 a month you were not paying before. So let me give you a realistic budget breakdown at different income levels. If you make $50,000 a year, your take-home is about $3,300 a month. 25% is $825. At today's rates, that puts you in roughly a $150,000 to $175,000 home. If you make $75,000, your take-home is about $4,800. 25% is $1,200. That puts you in the $225,000 to $275,000 range. If you make $100,000, your take-home is about $6,500. 25% is $1,625. That gets you into $300,000 to $350,000. Those numbers might look lower than you expected. That is the point. These are the real comfort zone numbers, not the stretch yourself thin numbers a lender gives you. If those numbers feel too low for your market, here are 5 moves to increase your buying power without putting yourself at risk. First, pay down existing debt. Every dollar of monthly debt you eliminate gives you an extra dollar of mortgage capacity. Pay off a $300 car loan and you just added $40,000 to $50,000 in home price. Second, save a larger down payment. A bigger down payment reduces your loan amount and your monthly payment. Get to 20% and you eliminate PMI entirely. Third, improve your credit score. The difference between a 6.5% rate and a 7% rate on a $300,000 loan is about $100 a month and $36,000 over 30 years. Fourth, explore different loan programs. FHA requires 3.5% down. VA loans require 0. USDA loans require 0. Down payment assistance programs exist in almost every state. Fifth, consider a different location. Moving one town over can mean $50,000 to $100,000 less in home prices. Property taxes vary wildly by county. Now let me share 2 quick scenarios that show why all of this matters. Scenario 1. A buyer making $80,000 gets approved for $350,000. They buy at the top. Their payment is $2,300 a month. After debts, they have less than $1,000 left. 6 months later, the water heater breaks. $1,500 on a credit card. A year later, new tires. $800 more. Credit cards piling up, credit score dropping, dreading the first of every month. That is house poor. Scenario 2. Same buyer. But they buy at $275 instead. Payment is $1,800. After debts, $1,700 left. Water heater breaks. They pay cash. Tires come. They pay cash. They are building savings and building equity. They enjoy their home instead of resenting it. Same income. Different decisions. Completely different quality of life. Let me leave you with 5 rules to never buy more house than you can handle. Rule 1. Use your take-home pay, not gross income, to calculate affordability. Rule 2. Keep housing at or below 25% of take-home pay. Rule 3. Budget for hidden costs like taxes, insurance, PMI, maintenance, and utilities. Rule 4. Never max out a lender approval. Rule 5. Buy a home that makes your life better, not harder. If you are stressed every month about the payment, that is not homeownership. That is a trap. The whole point of buying a home is to build wealth, build stability, and build a life you are proud of. You cannot do that if your mortgage is eating you alive. If this was helpful, hit subscribe. We break down everything first-time home buyers need to know every single week in plain English. No jargon, no fluff, just the information that actually matters. I will see you in the next one.